Okay, Darren.
Oh, and I also believe that the monster itself is a question mark to God.
Mm-hmm.
That if God can create life, why can't us?
Uh-huh.
Right. It's more like a question mark
What
to
does
the
it mean to
creator.
be a question mark?
Uh,
Does it mean that Mary Shelley tries to challenge
right.
God's
The authority.
authority?
Right. It's more like if God can do so, why can't we?
If I think there's a good point, but then you need to be more you need to be clearer about what God means here. I think that this novel does challenge authorities, but I'm not really sure if the religious authority is a main target. This is a bit like just now Joyce and Patricia mentioned Christ, how Frankenstein is a Christ figure. And I want to put a question mark there. I know that this is one typical version of Frankenstein, but I think the Frankenstein can be interpreted different ways. Just as authority here needs further interpretation, we shouldn't equate authority with God. Authority here could be political authority or intellectual academic authorities. So or even man as authorities. I also, considering the fact that the whole novel is kind of like a tragedy, it doesn't really mean that creation is celebrated. Human creation is celebrated. So I don't think that Mary Shelley is celebrating what Frankenstein does in order to challenge God. Although on the other hand, she does have revolution in mind. She does have the French Revolution and the other revolutions against the imperial authorities in mind. Last time we talked about different places like Ingolstadt, Geneva. Later you'll get to see Frankenstein going to England, to Ireland, etc., etc. There is a study that shows how all of these places are related to political revolutions or to intellectual revolution. Like Geneva is the birthplace of either the birthplace or the place that loved by Jean-Jacques Rousseau. So Geneva is closely related to Jean-Jacques Rousseau. And then Ingolstadt is where French Revolution originates, etc. So there are studies to show how different places are connected with different political revolutions. Yeah, okay. Okay, so let's shift to this side. Tiffany and Kara, right? Okay, Tiffany, Kara, and I forgot your name. Karen? Okay, Tiffany, yeah, Kara and Karen and Rebecca. Okay. Don't repeat. Don't repeat. Don't repeat what we have said already.
Okay.
Okay.
I want to answer the first question.
Okay. Try to pay attention.
I don't think he's a human. There are two main reasons for me. The first is just mentioned. He's not born in a natural way, and the second is that I think the monster itself don't think that he is a human as well, because in a book it mentioned that he asked Frankenstein to create another mate for him. I think that's because he think that himself cannot never can be one of us like a human. So he want Frankenstein to make a mate for him, and he want to escape with this mate to a deep mountain or glacier. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Kara?
second question is okay.
Okay.
I want to say, I think Victor rejects monster because his dream is vanished because the monster is so ugly. I think Victor is painted a beautiful creature, and monster is not as beautiful as he is painted. But I think that the Lassies, this family, they are surprised by his countenance because the monster is huge, and I think this is people's normal reaction. Yes.
But is that right?
I think is normal, and not because we do the same behavior often, and I think this because they don't realize the monster is not devil. It's not devil. They don't get along with him. So I think this is just a normal reaction. Yes.
Okay. Okay, Karen?
The first question, I think the monster is a human because he came to realize the emotional feelings inside his mind, and he pursues knowledge just as Victor and other human beings as well. And he is more rational than Frankenstein because he know what he wants, and he make negotiation between Victor and try to find a place with peace.
Yeah, try to find a way for him to be at peace, to not be angry and revengeful. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Rebecca?
I think the feeling of Victor is like he feel guilty because he giving a birth of such a creator, and he is strongly hated the creator because the monster killed his family, and and I think the family and the little girl and Williams is afraid of his appearance. It's like our human being fixed notion. It's like
Fixed notion of what? Of
uh,
normality?
Just watch his appearance, and we think in our mind, this is a monster, and we hate him, and that's ugly. As so, just.
Okay. Okay. But then, if this is a fixed concept, or if this is just our definition of monstrosity is something both fixed and normal, then maybe the other thing we need to question is what normality means, and whether we should always uphold the social concepts of normality. 什么叫正常？什么叫不正常？ And I guess if we want to say that, we tend to be afraid of monsters, or but then this monster is just somebody who is ugly, who is very different from us, then there in this society, there are so many other people who are, so many different people who are different from us. Or maybe we can even say that all of us are different from one another in one way or another. And sometimes, in a class, in a group, we try to conform. So we hide our differences. For instance, some of you may want to skip the classes, but then you're afraid of being punished or penalized by the teachers, or being seen different by the students, and you don't do it. Then does that make you a bad student? So I guess the differences between goodness and badness, or normality and abnormality, really is something we need to continue to think about. I personally think that the monster is human, and that's why I use the pronoun he here. I think he's not only human, he is a man, a guy, a he. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so let me move on. The last question we'll get to is, if you were Frankenstein, would you grant the monster's wish of having a mate? This is his decision to grant the wish and then later give up on it is another major turning point in this novel, which you are going to read about. This is a more terrifying turning point that you'll get to read. So before we break today, I want to know what your decision is, if you're asked of the same question. Okay? Okay, let me start to give my answer to the question. I think, like what Karen said, I think for me the monster is human. And then he proves how human mind, is kind of like a blank slate. 心灵是白板. Okay, and he at first, when he first wakes up, he only responds to some stimuli of his senses, like the light, the cold, etc. But then very soon he starts to appreciate beauty, and I think that makes him different from an animal. His ability to appreciate what we emphasize, like beauty, sympathy, beauty of different kinds, beauty to the eyes, beauty to the ears, music, his ability to learn through experience. Like fire can be scorching, but fire can also produce food, etc. He learns a lot, and he learns very quickly. I think that also makes him human. So let me give you a few examples to show you how he does have a kind of nobility. And actually, I think Mary Shelley's way of characterizing this monster makes him not only human, but also fit the type of what we so-called noble savage, which Rousseau emphasizes. Rousseau believes that education should be natural, because we are born noble, and we should keep that kind of nobility when we receive education, etc., etc. Okay, so page 103. This is not too long after the monster wakes up and go out. Here he says that at first he feels a strong light. This is on page 102. Strong light powers out onto his eyelid, and he feels he's not able to open his eyes. But then on page 103, the second complete paragraph, after the feeling of coldness in the dark, here, soon a gentle light stole over the heavens and gave me a sensation of pleasure. I started up and beheld a radiant form rising from among the trees. I gazed with a kind of wonder. It moved slowly, but it enlightened my path. And again, I went out in search of berries, blah, blah, blah. A few lines down. No distinct ideas occupies my mind. All was confused. I felt light and hunger and thirst and darkness. Innumerable sounds round in my ears. Okay. the only object that I could distinguish was the bright moon, and I fixed my eyes on that with pleasure. Okay, so I think that on the one hand, he is a bit like a baby with a swarm of different sensations. Now, at the beginning of our birth, we actually cannot distinguish between ourselves and the external world. And then the different senses can be merged. And that's what this monster feels. But then very special about him is his appreciation, his natural appreciation of nature. Now, he's knowing that, oh, this moon is a source of pleasure. It's beautiful and a source of pleasure. And then in the next paragraph, he talks about the birds singing. That again is another example to prove that he has this natural ability to appreciate the beauties in nature. Maybe we don't. Like out in the city, when you listen to the birds, you may feel that it's noisy. But here, he has this tendency toward the beautiful in nature. And then on page 108, okay, 108, he listens to the old man playing the flute. I think it's a flute, an instrument. He didn't specify what instrument is, a musical instrument. This is the first complete paragraph in the middle. And he says that it produces sound sweeter than the voice of the thrush or the nightingale. So this ability to compare, to distinguish, it shows that this monster is rapidly making progress as a human, learning a lot, and also being able to appreciate the difference between natural music and human music. And then what is very special is that I think Ken just talked about it, that he is emotional. I wouldn't say that the monster is more emotional than Frankenstein, but he is emotional, and he is very sensitive to the nature of his emotion. So towards the end of this paragraph, the last 5 lines, when he sees how the old man raises the girl, okay, and hold her, okay, and the monster felt sensations of a peculiar and overpowering nature. They were a mixture of pain and pleasure. So he's happy for them and painful for himself. So this combination of pain and pleasure shows that he's a sensitive human being, okay? And then besides the appreciation, the physical responses, and then sensual appreciation of music and beauty, he observes a lot. He learns also, in his observation. This in talking about human education, some people will say that if you place a baby among animals, and then this baby will be like an animal, and this baby will be not human at all. I think there are stories about that, like Wolfman, etc., etc. But this monster is different because the moment he enters a village, people get scared and they throw stones at him. They use sticks to hit him, and he escapes. Okay, but then he decides to not imitate the barbarous activities of those villagers. He decides to observe the De Lacy family. This is the beginning of chapter 12. Let's take a look. The second line of chapter 12. What chiefly struck me was the gentle manners of these people, the De Lacy family. And I long to join them, but dare not. I remember too well the treatment I had suffered the night before from the barbarous villagers, and resolved, whatever course of conduct I might hereafter think it right to pursue, that for the present I would remain quietly in my hovel, watching and endeavor to discover the motives which influence their actions. So he doesn't jump into action. If he is revengeful, it is after a sequence of cruel acts done on him and to him, that he becomes revengeful. At the beginning, he determines to observe and try to find out why some people can be gentle while some other people can be barbarous. He doesn't know. Because at this point, I don't think he has watched, he has seen himself yet. Remember, he sees himself later on. Yes. Right. It is later on. So, let me see. Huh? Do you remember the pool passage? The passage where? Oh, this is on page 114. He sees himself on page 114. This is later in chapter 12, the first complete paragraph. Okay, so at this point, he doesn't know why people hate him. Yeah. Okay. Also, besides being observant, he also learns the language very well. It's interesting that he first catches some words and then he learns the language even faster than Safi. You know, Safi being an Arabian girl, she is slower in learning the language. Let me show you where it is. Page 118. Starting with page 117, he learns the language. He listens to the way Agatha and Felix teach Safi the language, and then but then he learns it faster. On page 118, this is chapter 13. The last paragraph on page 118. My days were spent in close attention, that I might more speedily master the language, and I may boast that I improved more rapidly than the Arabian, who understood very little and conversed in broken accents, etc. Okay, so this again shows how the monster is making progress rapidly, you know, learning a lot about human society, and later he even picks up the books to read, to understand, in order to understand his own identity even more. Okay, let me finish 2 more slides and then we'll take a break. Besides learning about human society, besides trying to pick up whatever he can learn from, like the music, the language, the sense of beauty, etc., I think the monster is human in another way, and that is he's sociable. You know, he wants to relate to the humans. He wants to find company, and he wants to show sympathy. You know, when he observes the Lacey family, he shows a lot of sympathy for them. He notices that they are not really happy. Okay, and because he notices that they are poor. And he, for instance, he finds out that Felix and Agatha, they save some food for the elderly, their father, while they themselves don't eat. Okay, because he sees how poor they are, he starts to help them. He helped them collect the wood so that Felix can focus on the gardening, the planting of the vegetables, etc. Okay, so all of this shows that he is kind inside. You know, he wants to be kind to human beings, and he longs for their kindness to him. Okay, let me show you a few passages here. For instance, I think that his sense of beauty is a complicated one. It's not. This is really a great contrast to the other people saying that he is ugly. You know, saying that he is ugly shows that all of these people, they have a fixed concept what is beautiful and what is ugly. But on page 108, this is when he compares, I think, Felix and the older, the father, the old man. On page 109, actually. The first complete paragraph. The old man had, in the meantime, been pensive, but on the appearance of his companions, he assumed a more cheerful air. The young woman, let's skip a line, was again occupied in arranging the cottages. Okay, And the old man walked before the cottage in the sun for a few minutes, leaning on the arm of the youth. And this is the image that's implanted on the monster's mind. And here he said, nothing could exceed in beauty the contrast between these two excellent creatures. One was old, with silver hairs and a countenance beaming with benevolence and love. The younger was slight and graceful in his figure, and his features were molded in with the finer sympathy, etc., etc. And then he talks about the other one. So in other words, he's being able to appreciate the different kinds of beauty, the beauties of the youth and the beauties of the old. Shows that his idea of human beauty is complicated, is sophisticated. Okay. Yes. But unfortunately, with the image of the pool, the self-image he sees in the pool, he started to realize that he is ugly, and then why people is afraid of him. But I think that his first response to this self-realization is not hatred or revenge, but an attempt to try to improve himself, to try to find the so-called protectors. Okay, so that's the process we are going to look at. How he feels sad, he feels a mixture of emotions, but then he also tries to improve his life and get a companion. Okay, yeah, let's take a break.